Alright, so what I'm dealing with today is checking the Orifice screen on this, Farmall 560, of course. Uh, I've been having problems where it's just getting very, very hot. Takes a while, but initially it's fine, but then as it goes along, it just gets really hot and it starts hunting and a couple other issues. Anyway, this originally, I read about this, and I think it was Old Oaks Farmall. It might be Old Oak Farmall, or maybe Old Oak Farms. I'll have to look that up. I'll put it in the description. But the last time I checked, the website was down, or you couldn't access it. But anyway, that's what this is dealing with. I've never gotten around to doing it. A couple things: you want to get an assortment of bolts. You don't have to do two at a time, but get them in various lengths, because this right here, this is what you're looking at. That's behind here. And anyway, so you put progressively longer bolts in the opposing bolt holes, and that way, because there's a spring behind here, and that's, if you don't do that, if you just try to pop it loose, it's gonna eject, and you can lose things that way. But anyhow, so that's what I'm working on today. See if I can't get this issue resolved, because it's driving me crazy. Yeah, it's just, I mean, when I say it gets hot, it's gotten better. I put that filter extension kit on it several years ago, which is still working great. It did help. It did reduce some of the squealing, and actually got rid of all the squealing. So that element of it did actually help, and I don't know whether it was just the original one was just clogged, or whatever the situation is. But at any rate, and I also started using better quality hydraulic fluid. I would like to get Hytran, and I know a lot of people are really, really on about that. I've been using the Rotella hydraulic fluid. It's got a lot of additives in it. Hytran, my local dealer, I mean, it drives me crazy. You have these manufacturers like Case IH. There's a bunch of them, actually. A lot of the motorcycle manufacturers are real bad about it, where they want to reduce the number of dealerships. You have to sell so much in order to keep your dealership, and all it ends up doing, because they're trying to drive more business to the ones that sell the most, is kind of a way to help their business for selling so much, which I get. But the problem I run into is that what happens is that dealerships in smaller towns close up. And so then, where you even had a presence in a small town or a smaller town, it's no longer there. You have no part support. And so what a lot of people end up doing is they just end up buying a different brand of motorcycle, tractor, whatever it happens to be. And, and then they lose all, affiliation. Like out here now, it's all John Deere and Kubota, and Alice, or not Alice, but Massey Ferguson, because that's what's still here. Everything else, there's people that really, obviously, I'm running a 60-year-old tractor, but there are people who, will drive the distance for the sake of brand or, dealer loyalty anyhow, but that's really kind of few and far between as far as that goes. But anyway, I'm sitting here jaw jacking. Need to get this thing off. Alright, so as I mentioned, got a handful of bolts, various lengths, to get this thing out. So I'm just going to go ahead and thread in the next length of bolt. And what that'll do is, when I loosen these other two, it's going to give it, it basically be a stop, so they can't get too out of control. That way it just doesn't fly off. And it's going to dump hydraulic fluid when I take it out of here, because there is hydraulic fluid. And I read, obviously this is the first time I'm doing it, but I read that when you start it up in that orifice, I believe it's the orifice, I'd have to read it exactly again, but it'll squeal when you start it up, because there's no way to prime it. It'll take you moving your hydraulics a few times to actually get and it'll squeal. He said it squeals really loud for a little bit until hydraulic fluid can get back in there. But anyhow, yeah, this is kind of one of those things that I've seen it, people asking about it a few times. So yeah, and like I'm still dealing with that. If I'm only running it a couple hours, it's not a big deal. But man, I tell you, if you run it for like 6 or 7 hours, it's hot. It's been hot enough. Now it's better now, but before it would be hot enough where even in my boots it would get uncomfortable putting my feet on the platform here. That's how hot it was. I didn't, I've got a digital thermometer. I never measured it, but hot, really hot. So anyway, I'm gonna get this off and let me see what we got here. It'd be nice if I'd gotten a ratchet, huh? And there goes the hydraulic fluid. Man, what a mess. You already see that spring starting to push that out. I'm glad I never really would have thought to check this. But yeah, there's a screen, and what happens is when debris gets in there, it collapses that screen, and it makes it really hard to, well, like in my case it does. Some people I've read where it doesn't, it just stops moving altogether. But if it gets a bunch of junk in there and collapses the screen, then obviously your fluid's going to have a really hard time getting through that. So guess I could have put a paper towel down there, huh? Let me go ahead and do that. It was nice if I could have been able to have squeezed a tray in there, but there just wasn't the room for it. Now I've got junk all over. This is, if you just watch any of the other videos, this is the one I painted just a few months ago, and you can see, pretty cruddy already. But like I said, it's a working tractor. Regarding that, tell you what, I'm going to pause, and then we'll come back after I get this off. Alright, well, I ended up having to remove the gear shift so I could use the impact driver, which is, just a manual impact driver, to get that thing out of there because it wasn't coming otherwise. see what we got. Well, actually, in my case, see, this is the Orifice screen here. It's really not bad shape. Yeah, it's got a little debris on it. Some metal shavings or not. If it is, it's bad. But no, this thing is actually in excellent shape. So, whatever it is, that's not my problem. But if you do have a problem with it, this will be collapsed. It'll be flat like a pancake. It'll just be, and I've heard people taking like pipe cleaners or other things, going in through there and kind of ramming it back out. But this one's good, so I'm gonna put it back together, and we'll go from there. But if you needed to, if you want to check that, that's you can tell it's been out before actually. That's how you would do it. Alright, well, I don't know, that might be helpful for somebody. Hopefully I can find whatever my issue is though. But, well, that's that. Alright, take care.